Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, live viewers. Hello, replay viewers. Good to see you. Hello, replay viewers. I hope that you're doing well. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, July 17th. So hopefully you're doing well today. I'm doing well today myself. It's still humid and hot. Still humid and hot. Do people have issues with sleeping in humidity? I do. When it gets humid, then I get, which way do I go? This way? Okay. Thanks for the thumbs up and see who's here. Yeah, I have. Hello, Casey. Good to see you. Yeah, the humidity, I get migraine headaches. I got a really bad one the other day. I had to cancel my class, but I don't know. It's just like that's the only, whatever. So this time of the year can be a little challenging for me because the barometric pressure in my head gets like, oh, ouch. So not sure if anyone else has that, but yeah, I might come out. All right. We're going to do A Course in Miracles Roulette today, which means that we're going to randomly open the Course in Miracles and we're going to see what it has to say. This is A Course in Miracles. If you don't know A Course in Miracles is not a religion. It is a spiritual, psychological, non-dual mind training. And when we open this up, it can give us a lot of information. There's a ton of information in A Course in Miracles. And we're going to randomly open it up today a couple of times and see what it has to teach us. I have a ton of notes in here. So, and if you're here live, please say hello. And even if you're here on the replay, please say hello underneath. And as always, this is a conversation. This isn't just a lecture. So as we speak, as we talk, please put into the chat whichever. Hello. Let's see. Shining Bright. Thank you for this. In your first live. Welcome. Shining Bright. I love your name. So we're going to do A Course in Miracles Roulette today. We'll see what comes up. But first, we're going to just breathe. We're just going to breathe. Make sure that my sound is up so we can hear. Let me just do this very quickly, everybody. Please introduce yourself in the chat. I'd love to hear you. Let me make sure we got this. Let's see. There we go. All right. So if you don't know, I'm also on Insight Timer. So I do lives on Insight Timer. I have lots of meditations there and talks on Insight Timer. And if you don't use Insight Timer, it is a great resource. It's an app on your phone, but you can also use it on your what's it called? On your computer. Sorry, I am oily. And yeah, so you can use that. So today we're going to use I like a lot of things about Insight Timer, but Insight Timer has this really great meditation timer. And you can change the sounds, you can change the length, and change even the bells that you hear. So definitely check it out if you don't have it already. So we are going to do, let me see. Let's do this. I've got a couple of favorites here. Yeah. So we're going to do just sit and breathe. We're just going to sit and breathe, and you're going to hear a really beautiful sound. It's called Tibetan Sunrise, or sometimes we call it Tibetan Surprise. So this isn't a meditation. This is just taking time to breathe. That's it. Okay? Capiche? All right, here we go. Just breathe. Here we go. Take a few deep breaths. Open your eyes whenever you're ready. I have to shut the window. Can you hear all of the New York City noise? Can you hear it? Put it in the chat if you can hear it. I need to shut it. Just too much. Hold on. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay, that's probably going to be better. Okay. All right. Is that better? Is that better, everybody? Hello? 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 You can put in the chat. You can talk to me through the chat. So there's the chat over there. So you can put the chat. All right. Who here has been studying A Course in Miracles or knows what A Course in Miracles is? Please put it in the chat. This is a conversation. Just so you know, this is a conversation. That means that I speak, and then we talk, and then we talk. Doesn't really work if I just talk and no one responds. Hello, Christine. Of course, buongiorno. My friend Christine just got back from Italy and she can't stop about Italy, which is so great. Hello. And Casey, ACIM, yeah. Okay, good. So ACIM, this is my book that I've had for many years. Now, I've been studying and teaching Course in Miracles for over 40 years. And I am, today we're going to do something that sometimes can be, if you're new to A Course in Miracles, this can be a little daunting because if we're randomly, oopsie, geez, if we're randomly going to be opening up to something, if you don't have the context for it, it can be like, what the hell is happening? But since I've been doing it for a long time, I'll be able to explain it. Sometimes it's very obvious. I mean, it depends on what we open it to, right? And just so you know, I mean, listen, you can see, well, I have tons and tons of highlights all through the book, right? So I'm going to randomly open it up and then we'll talk about it. Okay? Does anyone have any questions about A Course in Miracles before we go? Also, there's a new video. I cut a new video based on my, actually, it's much more professional video. I'm starting a new series about, the series is based on all the things that the separated self does to stay in the dream state. The first one was, I put it up yesterday, and it was actually a professionally edited version of the talk we had last week. Okay, all right, so here we go. I'm gonna randomly, does anyone have any questions or comments about A Course in Miracles? Remember, this only works if you talk. Okay, here we go. Let's just do this randomly. There. Let's see what's on this page. Okay, here we go. This is a great one. This is perfect. Sometimes it's super obvious. So listen to this. In any union with a brother in which you seek to lay your guilt upon him, or share it with him, or perceive his own, you will feel guilty. In any union with a brother in which you seek to lay your guilt upon him, or share it with him, or perceive his own, you will feel guilty. Isn't that true? So think about the typical guilty mother complex. When there's certain mothers, we know it's an archetype, right? It's an archetype. Well, and please put into the chat what this brings up for you. So it's the archetype of the guilty mother, right? So makes the kid feel guilty for not calling, makes the kid feel guilty for not doing what it needs to do, whatever happens to be. But guilt is the MO of this character, right? And then the kid starts to either accept the guilt or doesn't accept the guilt. That's a whole other thing. You can either accept guilt or you don't accept guilt. But the point of this line is that it's just the mother. Oh, I'm going to use something bigger. I have to write it down because I'll forget. Hold on. Let me write this down because it's a good example. Okay. So the mother's trying to make the kid feel guilty, right? The kid can either accept the guilt and be like, yeah, I'm a bad person. You're right. I should call more often. I didn't do the right thing. Whatever it happens to be. I'm the problem, right? Now, from this line, it says, so, but the kid can always also be, that's your issue, mother. That's your issue, mother. And you're not, if you need love, usually it's always love, why don't you just say it? Which most people can't do. So anyway, everything is love or a call for love. So that's obviously a call for love. If you put a guilt trip on somebody, it's a call for love. Remember that. A guilt trip placed on anyone is a call for love, right? So you could answer the mother's guilt by going, you know what? I love you. I love you. I love you. Assuring them that you love them, right? But you don't have to. You don't have to. Now, on the other hand, the mother who is laying the guilt trip on the kid is the one that ends up feeling guilty because they know deep inside that it's not fair to lay a guilt trip on somebody. It's not nice, and it's not building a stronger relationship. That's for sure. It's not coming together. It's pulling apart. So the mother who's laying the guilt trip feels horrible, but sometimes they can't help it. That's what they do. All right. What do you think about that, everybody? Put into the chat about laying guilt trips. And now, as you put into the chat right now, I'm also going to give you another really good one. The Catholic Church. I grew up as a Catholic. The Catholic Church, in many ways, this is a rash generalization, but it is built, a lot of it, on guilt. You should feel guilty. It's just embedded in you to feel guilty when you're a Catholic. There's other religions too, but I'm taking from my own, right? So you feel guilty. You feel guilty because the church is like, you should feel guilty for saying that bad word. You should feel guilty for not treating your mother well. You should feel guilty for doing that sexual activity, whatever happens to be. But it's actually, then you find out that the clergy has been doing bad things. They feel guilty, so they're projecting it outwards. Same thing with the mother. It's all projection. Not all, but you know what I'm talking about. This, of course, the SA in the Catholic Church is famous. And how many hundreds of thousands of people have been SA'd in the Catholic Church? Right? And at the same time, they're making people feel guilty about having sex and being a sexual being. I wanted to point that out because that makes total sense. Okay, let's see. Casey says, good point about a call for love. Thank you. That brought a tiny sister did that to me when my mom was sick. A time when my sister. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's, people do that. They do that. They make you feel guilty. And you can accept it or you don't have to accept it. That's for sure. Now, it doesn't matter. None of this really matters because it's still in the dream state. It's still in the dream state. So this principle goes with everything. When you attack something, you're feeling vulnerable, right? When you make someone feel guilty, you're the one that's feeling sacrifice somehow, right? Hello, Genevieve. Good to see you. Hi. All about power play. When you make someone feel guilty, you can manipulate them. Of course. And from the Course in Miracles point of view, that power play is only from the egoic split mind, right? So the egoic split mind isn't thinking with love at all, isn't thinking with compassion, isn't thinking about unity, isn't thinking about peace. It's thinking about what's in it for me? What's in it for me, right? And so it's definitely a power play. There's no doubt about it. But what we're asked to do in A Course in Miracles, we're asked to dig deeper than the power play and realize what I said earlier, Genevieve, that it is all about that person needs love. It might come out like anger. It might come out like an attack. It might come out like laying a guilt trip on somebody. But what is happening is that character is calling for love. So you can answer the call. You have to be very, when you do this for any length of time, you can identify it all over the world. In your life, in the news and whatever, you can be like, oh, call for love, call for love, call for love, call for love, right? It's not, and then you see it is a manipulation and it's a power play. For sure. I teach that a lot in a couple of my classes about you have to realize where you're leaking power, where you're grabbing power, where you're giving power. I mean, that gets into the weeds a little bit, but you're completely right. But you understand when it's like, that's the surface level of it. What's underneath it? In A Course in Miracles, it would say only unconditional love. Well, it says only love is real. I say only unconditional love is real because that makes it much clearer. Right? So only unconditional love is real. Anything that's not of unconditional love is some kind of a power play, some kind of a manipulation, and some kind of call for love. Got it? Thanks for the thumbs up, everybody. Okay. Anything want to say anything? Oh, we'll pick one more and we'll read it. We got about 10 more minutes. Makes sense, Genevieve? I'm assuming it did. Okay. All right, let's do another one. Just randomly. Yes, you're welcome. Okay, ready? Okay, here we go. See, I've got a lot, so I have to look at one that's going to be straightforward here, right? Okay, you ready? So war would be a call for love. Of course it is. Of course it is. It's a call for love. For sure. Okay. And war comes from the need to be right. The need to be right. The ego has to be right every time. It has to be right. Okay. Now, this is great because we're talking about the ego, right? So here we go. The ego is nothing more than a part of your belief about yourself. Your other life has continued without interruptions and has always and has been and always will be totally unaffected by your attempts to disassociate it. So your ego, I got to come back here. So the ego is nothing more than a part of your belief about yourself. Let's stop there. Remember, I just said the ego is the part of you that thinks without love, right? That part is not real. That part is the part that believes you are undeserving of love, that there's only so much love, that you have to like fight for love, you have to manipulate to get love, you have to have a power play to be right, right? Or to be right. Sorry, I need to get a drink. Hold on a second. Allergies. Hold on, everyone. I'm sorry. Otherwise, I'm going to keep coughing. Okay, I'm almost there. Sorry, everybody. Okay, sorry. Okay, so where was I? The ego is all about manipulation. The ego believes what it believes about yourself. So the line again is, the ego is nothing more than a part of your belief about yourself. A part of your belief about yourself. But that part is the part of you that believes, I don't deserve it. I don't have enough. Something's wrong with me. I've got a problem. Houston, we have a problem. That part of you is the ego. Remember when I said earlier, like I just said, reminded you, is that the ego is the part of your mind that thinks without love. Now, the other part, which is the truth, is the unconditional love part. That it accepts you, it knows you, it gets you unconditionally. If you win the race or if you lose the race. If you're short, if you're tall. If you're fat, if you're thin. It is completely accepting of everything, right? It also is accepting of everything because it knows that other part, the ego part, that's like, I'm a loser, something's wrong with me, people don't, but whatever, that part, it knows that that's not real. It knows that that's just a shadow that's going on, right? That usually the character is projecting onto other people, right? So it's just a part of your mind that doesn't know who you really are. That's all the ego is, right? So you can put into the chat whatever you want. I wanted to say, only your allegiance to the ego. Sorry. Let me just, hold on. Okay, this is good. I have spoken of the ego as if it were a separate thing acting on its own. This was necessary to persuade you that you cannot dismiss it lightly and must realize how much of your thinking is ego-directed. You have to realize how much of your thinking is ego-directed. In A Course in Miracles, he says, listen, you need to be willing to question every single belief that you ever have. Your beliefs create your thoughts create your actions, right? So you have to be willing to look at it, because so much of your life, your thoughts, your actions are ego-based. But it doesn't have to be. You know how they say you're walking around in a dream? It's a dream state. The Course would say this, it's an illusion. Because, let me say this correctly. Because you're following a guide that's not even there. It's like following someone, like getting a guide when you go on a trip. and the guide doesn't know where it's going. But you're like, have all the faith in the guide, but the guide doesn't even have a map, doesn't have a GPS, doesn't know. But it's like, guess we'll go this way. Let's go this way. That's what the ego is. And you follow that guide. And then you're like, why do I feel like shit? Why do I feel guilty? Why do I feel horrible? Why do things not work out for me? Because you're following a guide that is lost. Take a deep breath. I'm going to read it one more time. Please put into the chat anything that's coming up for you. Where is it? Oh, shoot. Oh. This was necessary to persuade you that you cannot dismiss it lightly, the ego, and must realize how much your thinking is ego-directed. So, think about that for a moment. This is why this work can take a long time. There is no time, but because you have to start to unearth how you've been ego-directed. When I work with people, especially privately, in my groups too, it's very obvious. And I guide and help people. I was going to say my guide, what it doesn't matter, to direct them to see how their thoughts, their actions, their feelings have been ego-directed. And what's the answer to all of it? What's the answer to all of it? It's on my arm here. What's the answer to all of it? I've said it so many times today. What's the answer to all of it? It's on my arm. That's right. Love. Love. The other one, trust. Hi, Nina. Trust. Developing trust is huge. Unconditional love is everything, right? So the answer to every question, is a form of unconditional love. If you're not answering the call for love with love, unconditional love, not conditional love. Conditional love is guilt and sacrifice. I mean, it's guilt and sacrifice. You get confused. You think love is pain. Pain is love. That's what the Course would say, and it is true. So what that mother, from the beginning when we were talking about guilt, projecting guilt, that mother believes that making someone feel guilty is love. That's not love. That's not. It's the same arm, Nina, but it was just on the hand and on the arm. Does that make sense? So everything, your money, your business, your mother, your father, your politician, how you see the world, yourself, if there's any other reaction or answer other than unconditional love, you're in the ego. Because the ego is going to be conditioned. You have to do this to get this. You're not good enough. Something's wrong with you. Fix it. Change it. That is conditionality. So what the Course in Miracles does, we're going to wrap up now, is it does a few things, but it begins to wake you up from conditioned living to unconditional living in the dream. Course in Miracles states that it's trying to help you to have a happy dream, because this is all a dream. This is all a dream. It's not really true at all. It's just a fiction. But you could have a better fiction. You have a better story, a happy dream. Your dream does not have to be a nightmare. For most people walking around the world, they don't realize that. They think that that's just the way life is. Well, that's the way life is for that character. There is a co-creative, oh my God, I was just listening to this amazing interview about cubism, and it was so interesting about quantum theory and cubism and traditional physics. And it's just fascinating. And what this woman was talking about with cubism is that there is basically, I'm just going to say this, basically, is that, you know how in quantum physics, the whole idea is that the thing, the cup, is only a cup if you're observing it. When you're not observing it, it's not a cup. And it's definitely not your cup, right? This cup that you're looking at is different. This is super basic, but quantum says that that cup is different for Nina, for Casey, for Genevieve, for anyone, right? It's different, right? So it depends on the observer, right? So cubism is talking about how, this is just one thing, how the interaction with the subject and the objects creates something different, right? This is kind of difficult to explain, but it kind of makes me think a lot about A Course in Miracles and about what you're doing and how living in this world is, right? So this is very close to how what's his name? And this is all physics, right? This is all physics. So in Wallace Wattles, he talks about the imprinting the field to create something new, right? So competition doesn't ever work. That's conditionality. But unconditionality is when the potentiality of the field comes together with the potentiality of the character, and it comes together and something else emerges from that, right? So it's what the reason I thought about that, because I was talking about co-creation. So co-creation is huge. There's a consciousness here, and then there's consciousness in the dream. Outside of the dream, we don't know. But in the dream, there is all of consciousness, and then there's this consciousness. I'm just pointing to local consciousness and then non-local consciousness, right? So this coming together with this creates something new. Something changes. There is something happening. Now this is separation. This comes back to what the Course talks about all the time. You have to accept the atonement for yourself, the oneness of it all, the connection of it all, basically. The more that the separated mind keeps separating itself, the more that it's in fear, the more that it's in suffering, the more it's in depression, the more it's in anger, right? War, fear, anger, separation, not them, we're right, they're wrong, right? That is the recipe for disaster, the recipe for suffering. And what does man do over and over and over? Again and again and again, right? Take a deep breath. So, as the Beatles would say, all you need is love. Yeah, you should know that by now. But all you need is unconditional love. That unconditional thing, that prefix to love, is so important, because all of these egos are saying love is real, love is real. All you need is love. It's great sentiment. I love it. But what's being heard by the separated selves that hear that? Many times they're like, oh, I know what love is, so that's what. No. Unconditional love is the acceptance of everything as it is. That's unconditional. Most people think of love in some kind of condition. It has this form. It's going to be like this. All right, I've gone way over. Okay, take a big deep breath. Okay, tell me anything that you're taking away from our work today about A Course in Miracles or of what we talked about. Go watch my latest video. It's edited. It has captions. Has good lighting. Doesn't look like this. Well, it does look like, because I'm in the same spot, but you know. But the lighting is all good. Camera's good. So let's see. What do you want to say? Take away. I'm not leaving until at least there's 8 people here. At least somebody says something. Nina says, we'll try unconditional love, but not easy throughout the day. Yeah, your ego definitely doesn't want to do it. The more that there feels like there's a detachment from the ego, the easier it is. More unconditional love. Thank you, Casey. Okay. Anyone else want to say anything or ask anything before we go? Genevieve, for me, question myself more if it is ego or unconditional love. Very good. That's practical. See, I love that. It's super practical. As a Virgo, and here's the deal. This is super practical too. It is practical. It sounds very heady and complicated, but it's very practical. Okay, everybody. All right, everyone, take a deep breath. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you being here. Genevieve, you're welcome, Genevieve. I will see you. I'm on Insight Timer on Friday, and then I'm in Insight Timer on Saturday, and then and then make sure you sign up for my Substack, because I'm writing a new article every Sunday. Comes out a new article. My last article was, and if you want, here I can put it in the thing. Last article was challenging the myth of life's path. Let me just go here a second really quickly. Oh, wait, no. I want to go to there, I think. Yeah. All right. Invite friends. Copy link. There we go. I'm going to put this in here. Make sure that you sign up here. Should be there. You can copy and paste that. So you can sign up there for my articles, and that's it. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and just thankful for life. I love it, Christine. Beautiful. I love it. I love that. Okay, we will talk really soon. Enjoy yourself. Au revoir.